We don't serve people like you here.
Are you sure about that?
I'm absolutely sure.
They refused to serve her because she looked poor. Angela Johnson had learned something about life that money could never teach. People would smile at your suit, but ignore your soul. At 58 years old, Angela no longer cared about expensive handbags or designer clothes. Since losing her husband 12 years earlier, she had chosen a quiet life. Most people who saw her assumed she struggled to make ends meet. That assumption had become her greatest disguise. On a warm Saturday afternoon, Angela was driving across town after visiting the neighborhood where she and her late husband had started their first catering business decades ago. Her old sedan suddenly sputtered before rolling to a stop, just a few blocks away from one of the city's most exclusive restaurants, the Magnolia House. She sighed, locked the car, and decided to walk. She wasn't looking for anything fancy. Just a cool glass of water, somewhere to sit, and maybe a bowl of soup while waiting for roadside assistance. As she approached the restaurant, she noticed people dressed in expensive suits stepping out of luxury vehicles. Angela glanced down at herself. Her cardigan was faded. Her shoes were worn. Her handbag had clearly seen better days. She smiled anyway. Years ago, those things would have embarrassed her. Now they reminded her of where she'd come from. The hostess barely looked up when Angela entered. "Reservation?" "No, ma'am," Angela replied politely. "My car broke down nearby. I was hopping to get a small table." The hostess looked her up and down before forcing a thin smile. "I'm sorry." She paused just long enough to make the rejection sting. "We're fully booked." Angela nodded. "I understand." Then something caught her eye. A wealthy-looking couple walked in behind her. "No reservation," the man said. The hostess's entire expression changed. "Oh, right this way." Angela watched as they were escorted to a table overlooking the windows. Only then did she realize what was happening. The restaurant wasn't full. She simply wasn't the kind of customer they wanted. Before she could turn toward the door, the restaurant manager walked over. His name was Richard Collins. Without lowering his voice, he looked directly at Angela and said, "We don't serve people like you here." Angela looked at him calmly. "Are you sure about that?" Richard folded his arms. "I'm absolutely sure." Several customers stopped eating. The room grew quiet. Angela simply nodded. "Thank you." She turned and walked away without another word. No yelling. No threats. No tears. Only dignity. What Richard didn't notice was that one young waitress had witnessed everything. Her name was Maya, and she couldn't shake the feeling that what had just happened was wrong. Ignoring her manager's glare, Maya rushed outside carrying a takeout bag. "Ma'am." Angela turned. I bought you lunch." Angela blinked in surprise. "You didn't have to do that." "I wanted to." Angela accepted the bag. "What's your name?" "Maya." Angela smiled warmly. "I won't forget it." Inside the restaurant, Richard was furious. "You'd better decide whether you work for this restaurant or for strangers." Maya apologized but secretly wondered whether keeping this job was worth sacrificing her conscience. Meanwhile, another customer had quietly recorded the confrontation on a phone. Not for social media, just because something about the exchange didn't sit right. That evening, Angela sat alone in her modest home. She placed the untouched restaurant meal on the table and opened an old photo album. Pictures of her late husband filled the pages. They had started with one food truck, then a catering company, then banquet halls, then commercial properties. When he died unexpectedly, everyone assumed the business would collapse. Instead, Angela expanded it into one of the largest hospitality investment companies in the state. Very few people knew her face. She preferred it that way. The next morning, the Magnolia House buzzed with excitement. Richard gathered the staff. "I need everyone on their best behavior today. The new owner arrives at 10. Nobody had expected the restaurant to be sold. Rumors spread quickly. Some thought a celebrity had purchased it. Others expected a billionaire from New York. At exactly 10 o'clock, a line of black SUVs pulled into the parking lot. Employees straightened their uniforms. Richard adjusted his tie. The driver opened the rear door. Out stepped Angela Johnson. Silence. Richard's face turned white. The hostess nearly dropped her clipboard. Maya stared in disbelief. Angela calmly walked through the front doors. No expensive jewelry. No flashy designer outfit. Just the same cardigan she had worn the day before. She looked directly at Richard. "Good morning." His mouth opened, but no words came out. "I believe yesterday," Angela continued, "you said you don't serve people like me." Richard immediately began apologizing. "It's all been a misunderstanding." Angela raised one hand. "Has it?" She requested security footage from the previous day. Every employee gathered in the office. No one spoke. The cameras showed everything. The hostess lying about reservations. Richard humiliating a customer. Maya offering kindness when no one else would. Angela closed the laptop. Yesterday wasn't a test. She paused. But it became one. Richard tried to explain. "I was protecting the restaurant's image." Angela answered quietly. "No. You were protecting your prejudice." By the end of the meeting, Richard was terminated. Not because Angela wanted revenge. Because complaints about his behavior had existed for years. Yesterday had simply confirmed everything. The hostess was also dismissed after an internal review uncovered multiple incidents of discriminatory treatment toward customers. Then Angela turned to Maya. "You spent your own money on someone you believed could never repay you." Maya nodded nervously. "I just did what my grandmother taught me." Angela smiled. "Then your grandmother taught you how to lead." That afternoon, Angela promoted Maya to assistant manager with a leadership training plan that would prepare her to run the restaurant. Over the following months, the Magnolia House changed. Every Wednesday, free meals were served to seniors. Veterans ate at no cost on holidays. Families facing hard times were welcomed without judgment. A sign near the entrance quietly read, "Everyone deserves a seat at the table." Months later, Richard happened to pass by the restaurant. Through the window, he saw a full dining room. People from every walk of life sat together. Business had never been better. As Angela greeted guests personally, Maya walked over. "I still can't believe all this started because someone judged your clothes." Angela smiled. "No." She looked around the busy restaurant. "It started because someone forgot that every person deserves respect. Kindness costs nothing, but the way you treat people can cost you everything."